ready to dive into a world you might think you know.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Glass. But
Glass, okay.
we're going way beyond your windows and drinking glasses today.
All right.
We're going back in time to uncover the origins of this material.
Okay.
And I'll give you a hint. It's surprisingly luxurious and mysterious. Think ancient Egypt, King Tut. Glass, so precious, it rivaled gemstones.
Oh, wow. Okay, so not just like your average everyday glass.
No, not at all.
We're talking like high-end fancy glass. All right. So to kick things off, how about we consider how much our perception of glass has actually changed over time?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, today it's everywhere. It's almost invisible.
Yeah, we take it for granted.
Right, but rewind back to the late Bronze Age. So
Right.
that's around 1600 to 1200 BCE.
All right.
We're talking glass was a mark of extraordinary wealth and power.
We're talking pharaohs rocking glass bling. Right?
Yes, exactly.
I can already picture like those stunning blue glass inlays into Tutankhamun's gold mask.
Oh, yeah. It's incredible.
But okay, how do we even begin to trace the origins of something?
Yeah.
It's been around for millennia.
It's a challenge, especially because, well, glass degrades over time
Oh, right.
and even faster in like wetter environments,
So a lot of the evidence could be gone?
potentially. But that's where the real detective work comes in. We use scientific techniques like, have you heard of LAICPMS?
I have not, no.
Okay, so LAICPMS, it analyzes the chemical composition of glass.
Okay.
It essentially gives us its fingerprint.
So we're tracing the glass back to its source.
Yeah.
We're even pinpointing the specific mines the raw materials came from.
Yeah, sometimes even down to that level.
That's incredible.
Mhm.
So what has that kind of analysis revealed about the earliest glass production?
Well, it's fueled this debate
Uh-huh.
that's been going on for a while now about was the Near East or Egypt the birthplace of glassmaking?
Oh, so that's still up for debate.
Both have strong claims, and evidence, it kind of keeps evolving as we uncover more sites and apply new techniques.
It's like a good old-fashioned archaeological rivalry.
Right.
What are some of the key pieces of evidence on each side?
Okay, so in the Near East, we have sites like Nudzi,
Okay.
that's in modern-day Iraq,
Okay.
where significant amounts of glass have been found.
Okay.
But the issue there is the dating of the site
Oh, I see.
and how it aligns chronologically with Egyptian glass production.
Uh-huh.
Does it predate? Does it come after?
Right. And I imagine the wetter climate of the Near East plays a role, right?
Exactly.
Because more degradation means potentially less evidence to work with.
Right, exactly. Now, in Egypt, we have that incredibly dry desert climate,
Yes, true.
which has preserved glass artifacts in just stunning detail.
Especially within those ancient tombs.
Yes, especially.
And almost like little time capsules.
They really are.
And we see evidence of a sophisticated glass industry during that same late Bronze Age period, potentially even predating what we see in the Near East.
Right, possibly.
Okay.
It really muddies the waters.
Yeah, so it's a real archaeological tug of war,
Yes.
with each side presenting very compelling evidence.
Yeah.
But this begs the question, how did they actually make this stuff?
Yeah, good question.
Finding ancient glassmaking sites can't be easy.
No, not at all. The process, it doesn't leave behind much waste.
Oh, so it's almost like they were cleaning up after themselves.
Right. So those sites are difficult to identify. That's why the work of people like Thilo Raren and Edgar Pusch is so significant.
Okay, what did they discover?
They were focusing on pottery fragments at Kontir,
Okay,
which was the capital of Ramses II.
right.
And they noticed some pottery with these unusual lime-rich layers.
Okay.
And they realized these weren't just any pots. These were crucibles.
Crucibles.
Yeah, used for melting glass.
So they were repurposing pottery as these, like, makeshift melting pots.
Right.
That's ingenious.
Yeah.
But how could they tell
Good question.
that these were used for glass specifically?
Well, the color of the crucibles,
Okay.
it indicated the high temperatures needed for glass production.
Oh, okay.
And get this, they even found traces of semi-finished and colored glass within those ancient vessels.
Oh, wow.
It was like finding the missing link in the story of ancient Egyptian glassmaking.
So we're starting to get a picture of the Egyptians creating glass with these really resourceful techniques. But was this just a local industry? Or were they trading this precious material?
That is an excellent question, and this is where the story, it gets even more intriguing.
Oh, I love when that happens.
The Ulluba룬 shipwreck,
Okay.
dating back to the 14th century BCE, It gave us this incredible glimpse into the vast trade networks of the ancient world.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me about this shipwreck.
So it was discovered off the coast of Turkey, and it was essentially a floating marketplace.
Wow.
Carrying goods from all over the Mediterranean and beyond.
Like what?
Ivory, copper, tin, amber from the Baltic region.
Wow, really?
And among these treasures, they found 175 glass ingots.
175. That's a serious haul of glass.
No.
Were these ingots ready to be turned into those beautiful objects we've been discussing?
Precisely. And analysis of the ingots confirmed they were made in Egypt.
Really?
Showcasing how this raw glass material was being transported across vast distances to be crafted into luxury items.
It really paints a picture of how interconnected the ancient world truly was.
It really does.
And it wasn't just about the movement of goods, was it?
No.
These trade routes also facilitated the spread of ideas and technologies.
Absolutely. Now let's shift our focus to the ancient Egyptian city of Amarna.
Okay.
Briefly, the capital during Akhenaten's reign in the 14th century BCE.
Okay.
Recent excavations there have revealed some fascinating details about the accessibility of glassmaking.
I've heard so much about Amarna. What did they find there that's changing our understanding of glass?
Okay, so a team led by Anna Hodgkinson was re-excavating areas of Amarna, and what they found glass rods and ships.
Okay.
Scattered throughout the city, even in more modest households. Oh, interesting.
So this challenges the assumption that glassmaking was solely confined to specialized workshops.
So, are you suggesting that everyday people might have had some involvement in glassmaking?
Yeah, it's a compelling possibility.
That would completely change our perception of who had access to this material.
And it's supported by another discovery. They found evidence that glass beads, at least, could be crafted in smaller fires.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily requiring those large furnaces.
Right, right.
We often associate with glass production.
So it was more accessible, maybe, than we thought.
Potentially, yeah.
This is incredible. We've gone from pharaohs with glass treasures to potentially even common people involved in crafting glass.
And it goes even further. Remember how we discussed the use of antimony to create yellow or opaque glass?
Yes.
Well, researchers using isotope analysis have traced the source of that antimony back to mines in what is now Georgia.
Wow.
In the Caucasus region.
So even the colors themselves are telling a story of ancient trade and interconnectedness. Exactly. It all ties together.
This is blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But we've got to wrap up part one for now, don't we?
We do, yeah.
What's coming up next in our deep dive?
Next time, we're going to delve into, well, the techniques these ancient artisans used.
Okay.
Exploring the artistry and ingenuity behind those dazzling glass creations.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so we've uncovered some amazing insights about the origins and trade of ancient glass so far. But I'm ready to kind of delve deeper into the how.
The how, okay.
Or the actual techniques those ancient artisans used to create these stunning objects.
Right, because it's one thing to have the raw materials, but it's quite another to transform them into those intricate, beautiful forms. These craftspeople were true masters of their craft, constantly innovating with the tools and the knowledge that they had.
I'm picturing those classic scenes from movies with giant furnaces and molten glass being poured and shaped. How accurate is that image?
Well, those large furnaces, they definitely existed. The techniques themselves were often much more intricate and nuanced.
Yeah. One method they used was called core forming.
Core forming?
Yeah. Have you heard of that?
No. Tell me more.
So imagine this. They'd create a core out of a material like clay or even dung.
Dung?
Yeah. And then they would very meticulously wind molten glass around it.
Okay.
And once the glass cooled and solidified, they would very carefully scrape away the core, leaving behind a hollow glass vessel.
Oh, so it's like a reverse mold, building the object kind of from the inside out.
Exactly.
That sounds incredibly delicate and precise.
Yeah.
Almost like sculpting with molten glass.
Precisely. It required immense skill and control to manipulate the molten glass in that way. And then, of course, there's the technique of mold blowing.
Mold blowing.
Which allowed them to create more complex shapes with greater efficiency.
Wait, mold blowing. I thought that was a later invention.
Yeah.
Were the ancient Egyptians already using glass blowing techniques? Well, the earliest evidence we have of mold blowing actually comes from Mesopotamia.
Oh, okay.
Around the 1st century BCE.
Okay.
It was a game changer for glass production, allowing them to create a wider variety of shapes by, blowing that molten glass into pre-made molds.
So it wasn't just about the materials themselves, but the artistry and the innovation behind their techniques that made ancient glass so special.
Absolutely. And then there's the element of color.
Ooh, yes.
Those vibrant hues weren't just an afterthought. They were a deliberate and masterful manipulation of the material.
Okay, spill the secrets. How did they create those colors? Was it some, like, magical ingredient that, poof, turned the glass blue?
No, not quite magic, but incredibly clever nonetheless.
Okay.
They discovered that adding specific metal oxides to the molten glass would result in different colors.
Oh, okay.
For example, adding cobalt would produce that deep, rich blue,
Right.
while copper could create shades of red or green,
Oh, it's not.
depending on the type and amount used.
So they were like ancient alchemists, experimenting with different elements to unlock, like, the secrets of color.
In a way, yes. And their knowledge wasn't just based on trial and error. They had a deep understanding of the properties of these colorants, sourcing them from different regions and even experimenting with ratios to achieve subtle variations in shades.
I'm picturing these ancient workshops
Yeah.
with artisans meticulously grinding minerals, carefully measuring out ingredients, and passing this knowledge down through generations. It's like a blend of science and art, isn't it?
Exactly. And this knowledge wasn't confined to one location. Remember those trade routes we discussed earlier?
Yeah.
They played a vital role in disseminating these techniques and innovations throughout the ancient world.
So we have this dynamic network of glassmaking, with ideas and techniques constantly evolving and being shared across vast distances. It makes you wonder, were there any celebrity glassmakers back then? Like individuals renowned for their exceptional skills or unique creations?
Unfortunately, the names and stories of most of these individual artisans have been lost to time. You know, the archaeological record, it often focuses on the objects themselves and the elite who commissioned them,
Right.
rather than the skilled hands that brought them to life.
That's a bit melancholic, isn't it?
It is.
We see these stunning objects, these testaments to their skill, but the people behind them remain largely anonymous.
Yeah. It's a reminder that history is often told from a particular perspective and that there are countless stories waiting to be uncovered. But even without knowing their names, we can still appreciate the dedication, artistry, and ingenuity that went into each piece.
It's amazing to think that we're still learning from these ancient craftspeople, even after thousands of years. But I can't help but wonder how much of their knowledge has been lost. Are there techniques or secrets that we haven't yet rediscovered?
That's a question that keeps archaeologists and researchers up at night. While we've made incredible strides in understanding ancient glassmaking, there are still so many mysteries yet to be solved. For example, we're still piecing together the finer details of their glass-blowing techniques.
Yeah. I imagine there's more to it than just blowing into a mold, especially when you consider the complexity and delicacy of some of the shapes they created.
Absolutely. There were likely subtle nuances to their methods, specialized tools and techniques that haven't yet been fully deciphered. And when it comes to color, there are still debates about the exact composition of some of their pigments and how they achieved certain effects.
It's like having a recipe with, like, a few key ingredients missing.
Right.
We can get close, but there might be some secret element that truly set their glass apart.
Exactly. And then there's always the possibility of entirely new discoveries that could reshape our understanding of ancient glassmaking. Maybe a lost technique, a specific type of furnace, or even a whole new center of production is waiting to be unearthed.
It's exciting to know that even with all our modern technology, there's still so much we don't know about the past.
That's the beauty of archaeology and scientific exploration. It's an ongoing process of discovery and reevaluation. Who knows what incredible insights await us in the future?
This has been an incredible journey so far. We've gone from thinking of glass as something ordinary to uncovering its rich and complex history. But we're not done yet, are we?
Not at all. In our final segment, we'll step back and explore the broader implications of ancient glassmaking, examining how it influenced society, culture, and even our understanding of the ancient world as a whole.
Okay, so we've journeyed from those scorching deserts of Egypt to the depths of a shipwreck off the coast of Turkey.
Yeah.
Tracing the origins, the trade, the techniques of ancient glass. But I kind of want to, like, step back now and look at the bigger picture.
And the big picture.
You know, we've talked about glass as a status symbol, but I'm curious to, like, explore those societal implications in a bit more depth. How did How did this material influence social hierarchies or even belief systems?
Well, think about the context. You have a world where vibrant colors are scarce.
Right.
And the ability to manipulate such a unique material would have been just extraordinary. The possession of glass objects, especially those intricate and colorful creations, it was a powerful marker of wealth and authority.
So it wasn't just about like looking fancy. It was a very deliberate projection of power and status.
Precisely. In ancient Egypt, for example, glass was often found in royal tombs and temples,
Right.
signifying the pharaoh's connection to the divine. And their ability to command such precious resources, these weren't just decorative objects.
Right.
They were symbols of power, both earthly and spiritual.
That makes sense. It's like the ancient equivalent of owning a rare work of art or a luxury car today. It's a way of showcasing your place in society. And the fact that these objects were often buried with the deceased suggests they believed glass held some significance in the afterlife. Right?
Absolutely. It implies a belief that these objects held a power that transcended the material world, accompanying them on their journey to the next realm.
It's incredible how these objects, these fragments of the past, can offer us glimpses into like ancient belief systems and worldviews.
And let's not forget the role of trade in shaping those worldviews.
Right.
I mean, the Ulluba룬 shipwreck with its Egyptian glass ingots alongside goods from across the Mediterranean and beyond showcases that complex network of exchange that connected ancient cultures.
Those trade routes weren't just conduits for goods, were they? They facilitated the exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural influences.
Precisely. Glassmaking itself spread along. We see this in the development of distinct glass-making traditions in different parts of the ancient world, each incorporating local aesthetics and innovations.
It's like a ripple effect, with the art of glassmaking evolving and adapting as it travels.
Yeah.
And it highlights how interconnected those ancient societies were, despite the vast distances that separated them.
And that interconnectedness, it continues to shape our understanding of the past today.
Right.
Ancient glass isn't just a static artifact, it's a dynamic source of information. And as we develop new analytical techniques, like the isotope analysis we discussed earlier, we're able to extract even more information from these objects.
So it's a constantly evolving field. With each new discovery, adding another layer to the story, what are some of the big questions that researchers are still grappling with when it comes to ancient glass?
Well, one of the ongoing debates, it revolves around that shift from core forming to mold blowing.
Okay.
When and where did this transition occur? How did it impact the production and availability of glass objects? These are questions that continue to fascinate archaeologists and historians.
It's like trying to trace the evolution of an idea, how it spread and transformed over time. And then there's that lingering mystery of the lost techniques, right? The possibility that those ancient artisans possessed knowledge that we haven't yet rediscovered.
Exactly. Imagine if we could unlock the secrets behind some of their most vibrant pigments or replicate the intricate details of their most delicate creations. It would be a major breakthrough in our understanding of ancient craftsmanship.
This deep dive has completely changed my perception of glass.
Really?
It's no longer just a mundane material. It's a window into this fascinating world of history, science, and artistry.
And that's the power of taking a deep dive, isn't it? Looking beyond the surface and uncovering those hidden stories, the interconnectedness, and the sheer ingenuity that lies behind even the most seemingly ordinary object.
I couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that there's always more to discover, more connections to make, and more to learn about the past and how it shapes our present.
And who knows what incredible discoveries await us in the future. Perhaps somewhere, buried beneath the sands of time, a lost glass masterpiece is waiting to be unearthed, ready to rewrite the history books once again.
That's a thought that will definitely keep me looking at the world with a more curious eye. Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey through the world of ancient glass.